This episode brought to you by ApexGiftCard.com. At ApexGiftCard.com, you'll find all your favorite restaurants and stores, discounts anywhere from 15 to 52% off some of your favorite coffee shops. So go there now and get all your favorite brands at great discount prices. Stores change daily. ApexGiftCard.com.
Hey crew, we're back for episode 2. Grab a brew, join the crew for this fun episode about talking about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm joined at the table by the mayor, Klevin Lamar, and the chairman, Rick Bench. Let's talk about some great things going on in our community. Let's start off with the mayor.
All right, here's the mayor of Crewville here to serve you guys. But listen, right now we got something serious to talk about, is the pandemic of 2020. I just experienced something that I had to make a report on, and I encourage everyone to do the same. If you see price gouging out there, I don't care if it's a $10 roll of toilet paper, call the Attorney General's office. It's on the myflorida.com. Call them, make the report, and you would do everybody a service by doing that. And in the words of Marvin Gaye, what's going on, folks? What's going on? Listen to those words.
Hey, as we're going through this epidemic of all these problems that are going on throughout every area. It's not just here in Tampa. It's not St. Pete. It's not just like I was talking last night to my friend in Wisconsin. It's not just in certain areas. It's everywhere. Rick, tell us what you're seeing.
One thing for everybody out there that's in the crew, when you are talking to the government, when you're talking to your employer, when you're talking to a healthcare worker, make sure that you are talking about specifically corona. The government is right now on this path of, if you say you've got a problem, they're not going to help you unless you mention the coronavirus has interrupted my income. So make it a point, folks, to be real direct about what your problems are with either your employer, the government, or anybody local. The last thing is that there is some rumors that Tampa is going to be shutting down everything on Wednesday for 2 weeks. So if that happens in Tampa, you guys know it's coming to St. Pete. So if that happens, everybody just be aware.
So as we're going through this together as a community of Bucs fans and as a community of sports fans, we're trying to take our minds off of what's going on around us with some sports talk, and that's what we're here to do for you guys. And hopefully you guys are doing okay out there. And Klevin, what do you got?
Well, I want to talk about some Brady news real quick. As everybody already knows, we got the GOAT.
Yay!
The greatest of all time.
This is the best hype man there is.
Yes. But in relations to that, we also got, for the new folks, and we welcome everybody.
Absolutely.
We got raised ticket prices from the Buccaneers, which I don't blame them because they got to pay the man. Tom Brady's contract was $50 million, laced with $9 million in incentives, and he also put in his contract a no-trade clause.
No trade at 43.
At 43, folks.
So as you're looking at that no trade clause, that's telling you he's thinking and really feeling as if he is going to play past this contract. And, as a 43-year-old, that's telling you he feels that he is in magnificent shape and he's ready to lead a team to go a lot further than a lot of people thought the Bucs would get.
So 2 things with Tom Brady. There, CBS Sports News came out this morning and was talking about Tom Brady and the actual meeting that he had with the Bucs and what his demands were. He didn't have any demands per CBS Sports. What he had was he walked in there, said, I want to be a Buccaneer. We have high-powered weapons. At the very end of the meeting, he asked for the phone number for every single live Buccaneer so that he could call them and tell them Tom Brady's coming to the Bucs. I think that shows a lot of class, a lot of character. He didn't make demands about Antonio Brown, which was a rumor that we heard from the beginning. He didn't make demands about what he wanted to do with the offense. He is good with BA and everybody else running the offense as it is now. Thought that was a really, really good thing for us.
And the best thing I read, he didn't tie up our salary cap the way everybody thought he was going to. He only got $50 million guaranteed. That's $25 million a season, and it has incentives, team incentives, to get up to I think $29 million total per season if he meets the team incentives as well as personal incentives. So he's really got everything sitting there for him to do well. And it's I think it's going to push him to do good.
And one last thing, what I'm most excited about for this whole Brady signing is that it drove the higher demand for season tickets. I can't wait until I see that stadium full again, like we saw during the playoff days.
Absolutely.
Hey, Klevin, you remember those days where we'd get out of a game back in the good old days where that stadium was packed, is roaring.
Yes.
We had one of those victories. You're walking out to the parking lot, and you had tailgate number 2.
Yes.
You had such a long line back then to get out driving. No matter what, it's going to take you an hour to get out of the stadium and actually get to the interstate. Hey, man, we just stayed there. Come back, party for another hour, hour and a half, and you get in the car. It's a straight ride home. And whoever, you're calling Uber. Make sure that nobody's driving drunk.
That's right.
Games, though.
That's right. And the Bucs, and I don't blame them, they're cashing in on the fever that's going on here. They've raised their prices by 15%, which they deserve. They're bringing the GOAT in. They got to pay him. So we're all excited about that.
One other thing on the Brady, Antonio Brown. So there was a little bit of hubbub this morning. The New York Post is saying that Antonio Brown shows that he really wants to come play with Tom Brady here. But so far, there hasn't been a phone call from the Bucs to him saying, hey, we're interested in him. At the same time, NFL.com is saying that the Buccaneers are not likely to sign Antonio Brown, that there are some problems all the way up to Bruce Arians. So Antonio Brown does want to come here, and I think regardless of what anybody thinks about Antonio Brown, I think the Bucs head office has just said no. So
I agree with that.
Yeah, I look at that whole situation like I told you guys on the last podcast. If it was going to come, if he was going to come here, the biggest thing would be no guaranteed money, and I don't think he would come here without guarantees, because he's known to have hiccups.
Klevin, if you looking at the Bucs right now with Brady coming in, what do you think would be one big weapon that we need to bring in, and do you have a name of who you think could fill that role?
I really do. It's funny you say that. The Bucs are drafting at number 14, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and I'll preach this all the way until the end of the season. The Bucs their biggest need right now is offensive tackle. They need to draft, and I have a guy, but this is me. There's a lot of people out there. Mekhi Becton, he's out of Louisville. He played in a big run-oriented. He has a big body. He's strong. He's quick off the snap. This guy would be great in our system.
Have you seen Willis, the offensive tackle from Alabama? He is actually he's like number 7 overall. What do you think about him?
Yes, Willis. What I think about him, he won't be available by the time we get here in 14.
It would be great for him to fall.
It would be lovely for him to fall.
Right. Rob, along the same lines, what do you see? So Klevin's shown a little bit about what he thinks and what he sees. What do you see right now?
I really feel as we need to go running back on that first pick, and somebody with some speed. Somebody could get the ball and go far and help Brady take the pressure off of Brady, which I still think we need to tackle, but I think you accomplish that in a trade of some sort. And there's a big tackle out there that they're really either going to release or they are going to trade, and that's from Washington. Washington has somebody over there that is not happy. He was a malcontent last year because he was injured, and then the front office and team did not treat him well. And I think that's somewhere that the Bucs are going to look at. He's a 2 to 4 year player. He still has 2 to 4 years left. And right now, I really feel the Bucs are in a 2-year mode.
And if they, just real quick, Rick, I'd like to respond to Rob and his assertion on that. You got to remember there's a cap. And the Bucs, are they spending up all their money? Free agency costs money. So you got to kind of keep that in mind when you go into the draft. Yeah, you could get these players for cheap. But
the numbers that I had for the last podcast was we had 17 million left. Mm-hmm. Since then, we have redone Cameron Brate's contract. We re-signed Adams to a safety Adams to a 1-year deal. So we really haven't spent a whole lot of money. I mean, if we should still have 15 million plus on our cap.
And I love that Brate re-signing. That Brate, because if you think about it,
he's always been a team player.
He has, and one thing about Tom Brady, if you don't know, he dinks and dunks. He throws his tight ends. Between Brady and O.J. Howard, hopefully he keeps the ball or catches the ball this year, they're going to have a big year.
You know, one thing that I'm hoping, Rob, in what you were saying about running backs, there's a running back out of Georgia. His name is DeAndre Swift.
Swift is the one I was talking about.
That's the guy. That's the guy that I would want. Now he'll definitely be there at number one. But what would be great is if we can get the offensive tackle, if we can get Willis at 1, and then we follow up with a number 2. But it's the same situation. I don't think that Willis is going to be the tackle is going to be available at 14, and I don't think Swift will be available in our second round pick.
Right.
So it goes both ways. On other Bucs news, what else are you hearing in the trenches, Klevin? Some other things you want to bring up?
Well, okay. Let me talk about 2 things real quick. Yes, Tom Brady's going to be here for at least 2 years, but we have to think beyond the second year. What about the third year? Agreed. And if Tom Brady gets hurt, where are we at? So with that being said, real quick, I want to bring up in the draft that we need to draft Jordan Love. He's out of Utah State. If people don't know about him, just look him up, Jordan Love. He's a great fit for an aggressive Bruce Arians-style system. Jordan Love, he's 6'4", 225. He threw for over 3,400 yards passing last year, 20 touchdowns. The year before, 2018, he had 32 touchdowns. He is an aggressive pass person who would fit lovely in Bruce Arians' thing. Now, as far as free agency, the rumor that I've heard was the Bucs are looking to trade both Le'Veon Bell and safety Jamal Adams, which would be lovely if we could get
now, the Jets have already, they're wiping their brow on the Le'Veon Bell. They're like, oh, my gosh. So there actually is potential there. Rob, you heard anything?
I've heard the same thing, and really, if you put him in the backfield, talk about taking pressure off Brady. Going back to the tight end thing, we've re-signed both our 3rd and 4th tight end before Brady even signed. We redid Cam Brate's contract. Now we got 4 tight ends. Does that tell you where they're going?
Yeah.
It tells you they're setting this up for Brady.
Absolutely.
And there's Dion Lewis that's standing out there that hasn't got signed by anybody yet. And put Dion Lewis in that mix, plus you look at that trade. You've got a lot of pieces out there that can make this offense even better. But remember, with Brady, we're banking on our defense to still stand up and be there. And I think some of that cap room that's left, you have to give it to Sue.
You have to.
Yeah, I'm a little curious on why we haven't gotten Sue back in yet. One other thing, Klevin, I was going to say about Jake Fromm on the Jordan Love. Jake Fromm, 3 years at the University of Georgia, over 8,000 yards throwing, with a total of over 70 TDs with 18 INTs over those 3-year periods. And, I mean, he's been compared also to the same build, body frame, how he works as Tom Brady. So it's somebody who's mental. Same with Jordan Love. Mm-hmm. Mental guys that are, really smart. They're seeing things, but they're also taking their time and not just gunslinging. And I think I think both of those guys would fit well.
And as far as Jake Fromm, again, I would love for him to be here.
Good luck getting him.
But good luck with that. Good luck.
Rob, what do you see defensively? So we've had some news come out this week. How do you think everything's shaping up for our defense right now?
We lost a couple of key members to the defense. Nassib, he signed with the Raiders. We also lost another defensive lineman just recently. I can't think of who it is, but it was one of the major cogs to our defensive rotation. No, Sue is still a free agent. So we lost. I'm just gonna say we lost two guys that were part of our rotational players. They weren't the stars, but they were the ones that came in and gave a breather. So right now we need to look at our defense of either adding some free agents, like we just added a safety, Adams.
One thing, oh my God, did you guys see that we re-signed Kevin Mentor?
No.
Dude, we re-signed him. You remember Barrett was out for like 2 games in the middle. He had to come in. Mentor did an incredible job.
He did an awesome
He did
job.
a great job. So it's actually good that we've got a re-sign that's backing some people up.
You mean Devin White? When Devin White was out, he came in.
Yeah,
Devin White, he came in that Carolina game, and everybody was like, wow, where did he come from? He is a guy that understands the defense, and he's been around for a while. Jason Pierre-Paul, he is the leader of the defense, and with him on that defense, and you got you've got the veterans up in the front. Where do you see us going as far as free agency? Any more free agents coming in, or do you feel as if we're going to go into the draft?
I personally think we need to go in the draft. We have a team. I know everyone wants to win now. They wanted to win yesterday, but we got to look out the future. We've been perennial losers. It's time. Now, let me tell you this. Again, I'm going to recap my thoughts on this. Is the biggest needs for the Bucs in this draft is number 1, offensive tackle, number 2, quarterback, number 3, the edge rusher. We need that. Number 4, we need those corners. 5, running backs. And then number 6, the interior offensive line. Those are my 6 biggest needs for the Bucs in the draft.
Have you seen any free agent running backs that are left that either of you guys would go after? Free agent running backs.
Yes, I really feel as if, like we talked about, Dion Lewis. Dion Lewis is a major fit. He already has a good reputation with Tom Brady. I mean, they went to Super Bowls together. He was a very big piece of that Super Bowl team. Then he went to Tennessee and kind of got lost with all the Mariota stuff, and he was behind one of the best running backs in the league, so he never got on the field last year. So they just released him from Tennessee. Henry's getting that big contract. They can't afford to have the dual threat anymore. So, he's out there. Who else?
I get the Dion Lewis thing because he's been with Brady, but I disagree with that. I don't know who else is out there, to be honest with you.
One thing for sure, we got to have a pass-catching back.
Absolutely.
And Ronald Jones hasn't really proven that yet. I'm sorry to say, he has not proven that.
Well, again, Tom Brady likes to dink and dunk all the way up and down the field. He does not. They're going to have to reshape. When I say they, Bruce Arians, his no-risk-it biscuit, is going to have to adjust to Tom Brady because he's our GOAT now. Okay.
Absolutely. And we'll be back right after these brief announcements.
Hey everybody, this is Rob from Crue Life. If you are listening for the first time and you're like, what the heck is Crue Life? Where do we find these guys? How do we become part of the crew? Well, it's easy. You log onto your Facebook account, type in the search engine, Crue Life, not C-R-E-W, There is a C-R-U-E, that's crew. And you know what? There is no crew without you. So make sure you get on there, log in for Crue Life, become a member. Say you want to be in the group. We're going to get you into the crew. We're also on Twitter. Look up Crue Life on Twitter. Or if you want to follow this podcast and subscribe, go to youtube.com, type in Crue Life. in the search bar and subscribe today.
All right, we're back. Grab your brew, and we got some more discussion with this crew.
Cheers.
We're going to talk a little bit about other stuff going on with other sports that aren't going on, is the best way to say it. We got some talk about the Rays.
Yeah, it's been real interesting for the Rays. Spring training's been canceled. April 15th has been what they are saying is their target date for the start. I'm sorry, folks, but that is being way too optimistic. As everybody has been talking about, they're going to push it back again. I think it could be realistic that they do the end of May to the beginning of June, cut the season down to 4 months. You're probably only going to run 90 to 100 games, but at that point you get a real season in, and you can actually crown somebody.
And I agree with you, Rick, as far as the optimism. But let's be realist. This coronavirus, we don't know how long this is going to last. And I want to throw this out at both you guys, Rob and Rick. You guys are baseball connoisseurs. So, I love my Rays. I've been here with them. I used to be the watch commander over at the Tropicana Field for years, watching the Rays. How long do you guys think that the Rays will be here in St. Petersburg, the Tampa Bay area, and will they, Major League Baseball, if they end up canceling this season, remember the Rays are supposed to be here to 2025. So my question to both you guys, will Major League Baseball, or will the contract be impacted by this if they have to cancel this season?
My first initial is it's 27, not 25, just so that you know. Yes. And 2027 is the contract for the Rays. There's no way in Hades that the Rays organization is going to allow anything to happen other than that 27th. Now, it would take a monstrous paycheck for the city of St. Pete for them to release them. That being said, there's an old saying, follow the money. Okay, right? We follow the money. I know a lot of real estate guys, and I know what's happening in Ybor City. They are still buying property in Ybor City. There is still going to be, at some point in time, the Rays are gonna plop into downtown Tampa. I almost guarantee. And it's just on follow the money. There is so much real estate being bought up, and these are houses that aren't worth $50,000 being bought for $300,000 to $400,000. And it started to happen with the first rumors about 3 years ago that Tampa would be the spot. Then they absolutely said that it would be Ybor City. And now prices are through the roof, and they're still buying. Now, I know that everybody said, oh, no, they're not coming to Tampa. I follow the money.
So, just real quick, Rob, before you respond. So, Rick, you don't think there's any chance in hell that they would move to, say, Montreal?
There have been rumors. One rumor that has been more prevalent than any others is a split season where 40 home games would be played in Montreal and 40 home games would be played here in St. Pete, Tampa.
That's ludicrous.
It's ludicrous. It is insane. And it's not just a rumor that 2 or 3. It's been a rumor that has gone through ESPN. I've seen so many people talk about it. Yes, it seems crazy, but I've seen crazier things happen in sports. That's all I got. That's all I can say about it.
You know, I'm gonna get up there and on this box and say I'm a lifetime. I've had season tickets. I had it the first year when they first got here, and I look at the stadium, how empty it is when I go to games, 7,000 to 8,000 people at a game, and I can honestly say if I was the owner of the team, I probably wouldn't have done what I did last season when they were actually on a winning streak, start talking about this half and half. I think it was the worst thing you could have done to a young team, and it really kind of hurt them at that point. But as an owner, I understand you have to have people in the seats to make money. And as much as everybody in this area says, we watch them on TV, if you don't support them, you don't deserve them.
I totally agree with you, Rob, but You guys got to remember, this area is sort of like South Florida, Miami. Everyone is vying for the entertainment dollar. Everyone.
That is correct. Yes.
You're competing with your beaches. It's beautiful out right now. If it wasn't coronavirus, I'd be on the beach at somebody's tiki hut having a drink.
Or hey, we're going to throw this out there too. Or maybe be on a boat with our boy Sean Connor.
Yes.
We're going to mention anybody who's got a boat, hoping that they call us.
Leatherheads.
So, as we're talking about this, I just look at what they say is you win, they show up, right? Well, the Rays have consistently won, and they did not show up. We get Tom Brady, hasn't won anything for Tampa, and we're selling out the stadium. So does that mean that the Rays need to go sign this big free agent to bring him to Tampa and people would show up?
Well, this is a question. What is the Rays TV audience in comparison to other teams in Major League Baseball?
From what I understand, they're one of the tops.
One of the top.
In the area, but now their TV deal
nationwide.
Nationwide. I didn't mean area. Yeah. Nationwide. But their TV deal just ended, and they're having to sign a new TV deal.
But aren't we a small market as far as TV deals are concerned? We're not L.A. We're not New York.
Correct. And as statistics go, statistically, we are way ahead of the curve as far as people who are watching the games on TV at home. But they're not going to the game. That's what's exciting when you're talking about sports. Yeah, I like to watch sports at home, but there's nothing like being at the game. I was at the game with Evan Longoria in the 11th. Oh my God, the best game ever. So the Rays still give us all that we need as fans. We as fans need to be at the stadium.
I agree with you, Rick. I was there when Evan Longoria did that. But here's the thing. Here's a reality check as well. Fans don't want to go to these games because it's hot. And in the stadium, in the Rays stadium, it's cool. I've been in there when there's like an electrical storm outside, but people give the excuse that, it's too hot to go to baseball. And for these people who want the outdoor stadium like in San Francisco, come on, people.
Let me ask you a question. Have you been to Clearwater and watched the Threshers play in mid-August versus seeing the Rays play in mid-August? Which one are you going to?
Yes, I'm going to the Rays where it's cool inside.
But let me give you this. With the Rays, I think they do need to do something better, which is make the experience better. When you're in the stadium, and it's hard when you have 8,000 people to make it an experience. But I even put it out to some people. I'll be like, man, sometimes it's like going to the library. It's so quiet.
Yeah, and if you look at some of the renditions of the Ybor City Stadium, I call it the Easy Bake Oven because they got it as glass.
Open air.
And it's open air that the glass can slide back. That sun is beaming. We've all been to the Bucs game in August and September, and it's hot. My wife won't even go to the Bucs game because it's hot.
It'll kill all the coronavirus. I'll guarantee you that.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about the coronavirus when we get to the stadium August when we have the first preseason game. We get there and we got to change a shirt, towel. We're wiping stuff off, and then when it comes with the thunderstorms and the lightning, and we're kind of like, all right, we get a break.
Bring those sweat towels.
All right, guys, and we'll be back after this break. This is the chairman. Welcome, Crue Life fans. We want to throw a shout out to all the people that have been helping us share content, share a podcast. We've been sharing their content as well. We love What the Buck, Buckaholics, the Leatherheads, Tampa Bay Vipers Life, Bucs for Life, Loose Cannons, Buck Nations, 1 million Tampa Bay Bucs fans, and so many more that are sharing our content. We reciprocate. We're here for all Tampa Bay fans. We want to keep this rolling.
Walk by Faith Catering and Hoggy's Barbecue, a sponsor of the Crue Life podcast, started back in 2013. Their passion for cooking can be tasted in every single bite of their food, from Hoggy's slow-cooked pulled pork to the greatest mac and cheese. They truly live by their motto, showing Christ's example of love through food. Contact Hoggy Barbecue through Crue Life, or you can call them directly at 727-688-2087 to meet all your catering needs.
Crue Life's running wild. We're back from the break, and we want to start talking about something that's really big and it's not happening. They're actually selling shirts on WWE.com. It says WrestleMania 36, I wasn't there. And what really, really stinks for us sitting at this table, we had some really good seats for the WrestleMania, and it had a good card. We even had our passes to Tailgate Joe party that was going on in the What the Buck lot, and all those events obviously canceled.
There's not much we can do about it. It was a combination of the city of Tampa and WWE. But even looking at it now, I mean, nobody would be going. It's sad, but at the same time, we can talk about other things in this area. Klevin, the Grand Prix. I know that you go to the Grand Prix every year. It's got to hurt Sting just a little bit to not be down there and enjoy that.
Yes, just hearing the roar of the engines was blood tingling. I hate to say it like that, but it really was. Bringing everybody together. We don't get too much of this Grand Prix, the race, and I know Daytona has their 500, but everyone downtown, everyone benefits. The economic impact of bringing all these people to St. Pete was just huge, and I love the Grand Prix. I watch it from, I call it the perch in the sky. We're right there at Bayfront Towers. There's parties going on. We had to cancel all those plans, but it's for a good reason, and I agree with it because we don't want to spread this virus, and the Grand Prix could have potentially done that. As much as we want them to be here, hopefully we'll see them next year.
Well, the Rowdies have had to take the same break everybody else. We're talking about all of baseball. College football, we still don't know how that's going to be impacted. We're not going to see any spring games. My blood runs pewter, but there's a good part of orange in there from Tennessee, boys. So I always like watching the spring game at Tennessee. I mean, that's always a big important thing to me to see the new talent coming up.
I agree with you, Rick.
We're not going to know nothing until the season is actually set in stone, and everything's in the air right now.
Absolutely. I go to all the Garnet and Gold games over at FSU, nice. And that's exciting for all of us. And I echo your sentiment on that.
The one thing about phones, it tells you when you have events to go to, right? So yesterday we were getting together. We were putting this stuff together for today's podcast, and it goes ding. My phone, I look at it, it says, you have an event to go to. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, we did have an event to go to. XFL game. Yes. We had the best time. We only got to do 2 home games. It was awesome co-headlining, sponsoring the tailgate with Viper's Life. We had a blast. We have our section 149, row A. We call it the Crue Life Pit. And we had a blast. And I really am looking forward to 2021. We've already rolled our money. If you don't know, if you have season tickets, you need to go on to your app where it says manage tickets. And you need to look. It says do refund, or you could do option B or option A. You want to roll your money into next season. These guys really put the effort in to give us a good time. And if you didn't go to any Vipers games, I'm telling you right now, it's the best $100 season ticket you will ever get. The crowd's different than a Bucs game. It's rowdy. It's like going to a college game.
The last game we were there, do you remember the guy that was behind us in the row beside us? Dude had $100 bills and was throwing them in, or $1 bills, a stack of them, about 5 inches thick, and just kept throwing money in the air. Cops come down and they're like, "Look, dude, you're inciting a riot, so we can arrest you. Just don't do it again." Everybody else around him is going, "Leave him alone, leave him alone." Cops start walking out, and he says, "Screw those guys." throws one more big wad in the air. They came in and shackled him and threw him out of the stadium. But that's what happens at Vipers games. It is fun.
Well, just what else happened at the Vipers game that I've never seen at a Bucs game?
The Jumbotron.
The Jumbotron mess up where the girl goes to show off her shirt, and she didn't have a bra on underneath, and just happened the camera was shooting up the shirt. So
it was a Janet Jackson moment.
Yes.
Oh, it was great.
And if you weren't there, you missed it. And so I want to tell you guys, it's different. You had Vince McMahon's son there. He was there every game. You had some of the wrestlers get there, and you also had people that were just doing anything and everything to get on camera. One poor guy on the 7 o'clock game that was the nationally televised showed up in his underwear.
Yeah, I saw that.
And now this poor guy is on pictures everywhere as nicknamed Stumpy. When it's cold, guys, don't go out and you're just your drawers.
Absolutely.
It's not a thing you want people to see.
But there were a lot of things that we saw at Vipers that we didn't see at the Bucs.
No, and it was like I said, a fun thing. We were lucky enough that our ticket rep, John, he really took care of us, and I know he's a member of us, our group here at Crue Life. And I want to say, welcome to being a season ticket holder. You just put out there the other day that you're going to be with us at the tailgate parties. You're going to have one hell of a time.
And I agree with you, Rob. These season tickets for Vipers, although I only got to go to 1 out of 2.
But that was the winner.
That was the winner. Listen, folks, I believe just dealing with John over at Vipers organization, I believe that they're going to make this up to us next year. They've canceled the season. However, they're going to make it up. And I think it's going to be big. They're going to give us, like, a whole bunch of stuff that if you were just buying a ticket, one ticket here, one ticket there, it's going to be interesting.
Hey, what I would like to bring up, too, is if as you were a fan and you went to the game, first of all, I think we need to figure out a way to get you to all the games and get you off the floats because you were at too many parties.
Yes.
Klevin puts so many irons in the fire, and it's very hard to make sure he's at all the events that he's supposed to be at. But I would like to say is, when watching the game, I really felt that I liked some of the concepts they brought, like the first down marker, telling you how many inches there was, what down it was. I thought that was a really good concept. I did not like.
What about kickoffs?
Oh, I like the kickoff thing. I love the kickoff thing. The one thing I did not like though was leaving the mics on. When the referees would leave their mics on, so you heard all the hits and all that and the whistles. It felt like it was, compared to the NFL, it was unprofessional because it was like they left the mic on by accident. Because in the NFL, that's how it felt. The other thing that I did not like, and I'm gonna let you guys go next, is when they were televising the game, is having the microphones on the coaches. Not where you hear the plays. I thought that was cool. It's when they're communicating with each other, and it could be that our coach that we kind of are iffy about gets on there and says, we got to stop running the ball on first down. Don't you think the other coaches from the other team or somebody over there is watching the game it's going to radio down to the guys and say, hey, they're going to stop running on first down. Get ready for pass.
Thought the same thing.
But you know what? I'm going to disagree with you, Rob. I thought that was exciting, hearing the action on the field, hearing the coach. I felt like I was there.
Well, yeah, that's something that with the XFL, I think there's a lot of things that they do that the NFL is going to take and they're going to put part of the NFL game.
Yes.
And it keeps them from having to try it in preseason because they've seen it happen in the regular season of XFL. But also I see a lot of different things for the XFL players that, some of them really played out. And I think they're going to get some tryouts and camps. I think the biggest thing the XFL has against them is some of these guys that are going to show out are going to disappear because they're not going to be back for a second season. They're going to be in the NFL either as a backup or if they're lucky enough to get that opportunity to start eventually. You're going to see it's going to be like a minor leagues for the NFL is my opinion.
I wish we would have seen more from Quentin Flowers. That's probably my biggest gotcha. 2 great running backs. We had a receiver that, my goodness, we had incredible yards. But Flowers, man, I mean, every time he hit the field, he did well. He could be an NFL quarterback.
But Rick, that's your coach. That's
the coach. The coach, in my opinion, showed that he is done.
I doubt Tressman will be back. I would hide as much controversy as there was there. All right, so wrapping up, folks, we've had another great podcast here talking about our favorites, the Bucs. We're all going to say a little bit here at the end. My 2 cents right now is keep your head about your folks, please. I'm in McDonald's line. Somebody cuts me off. I'm just letting it go. I mean, I'm seeing so many aggressive people. People who are upset, who are mad. I understand that there are people out there that aren't making the same kind of money that they were making even 2 weeks ago, and it's really hurting this country. But everybody, please calm down. There doesn't need to be a screaming match. There doesn't need to be a fist fight. Understand that the person that you are looking at that may be giving you a little bit of problem, maybe they're going through something that is so incredibly bad that maybe you couldn't even fathom it. So everybody have a little bit of patience because we've got more of this to go. So that's the one thing I want everybody to take away from me today.
Rick, great words, man. Great words, my man. The only thing I want to say and wrap up is we are living in some tough times, and everybody just needs to spread the love. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, and take care of your neighbor. Take care of your neighbor. Pray for the world. That means Italy. That means China. That means everybody, including our own U.S. of A. Let's pray for our own mankind. Let's pray for humanity because we are living in some tough times right now, and we got to make this work. We're all going to get through this. I promise you, we're going to get through.
Being that I went to the grocery store and I've been to a couple different places, I really feel as if we need to really be patient and thank the people that are working. Those people right now are out there. We're supposed to social distance. They're having to be in the public, and they're having to be around everyone. We need to be courteous. We need to thank them. We need to not be a person where we're getting offended by how they talk to us because they're going through a rough, stressful time. And, law enforcement, doctors, ambulances, everybody that's there to help people, we need to extend a gratitude towards them. And, I'm sitting at the table, 32-year retired police officer, military veteran over here on the other side of the table, Kirk. He's been in Iraq, and he's done a lot of things. I'm sure what he's seeing around the United States right now, it's something that he hasn't seen, other than being overseas. And I could tell you right now, just seeing what I saw yesterday, we just need to come together, as, the United States as citizens and treating people better. And, that's all I got to say is, please and thank you when you deal with those people, and don't take offense to what they say and how they say it. Just be courteous.
If you're Crue Life, then get in the habit of saying thank you. Do something. If I walk into a 7-Eleven and I get some gas, I'm thanking that person behind the counter. Thank you. I know you're having to work hard, and this is a bad situation for everybody. So exactly what you're saying. Love it.
So what we want to do is we're going to end it with that, but I also want to remind you one last thing is if you're not part of our Crue Life page on Facebook, look up Crue Life. Go down there and become a member today. Get on there. We have our weekly contest. We pull a winner every Sunday, and we announce the new contest every Tuesday. And that's for a gift card. And right now, gift cards are really a good thing to have for to-go orders. It'll come in handy with all the stuff going on. All the restaurants right now, they're going to-go only in our area, so I know it's coming for everybody. So, again, these gift cards will come out handy. And if you haven't been on apexgiftcard.com, it's a proud sponsor of ours. Get on there, discounted gift cards, and it'll help you guys out.
Remember, everybody, do your part. Wash your hands, social distance. Think about that stuff. I know we're changing our lives. We don't think about that stuff, but try to think about it.
Crue for life.